Shalom, we're in live Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge Biblical Scripture Breakdown class. All right, all right. Give everybody a chance to get in here, tune in live, as always, as we do every Wednesday night here in ISUPK, Virginia. No Cowards, Richmond. Everybody just make sure, sign in for attendance. All right. Let's get in with this here. Talk about, all right. They're ruled by their names. Shalom, shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatham. Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatham. To the brothers, Yahweh Shamar Alathan by Shem Yahushua. To the sisters, Most High Christ. All right. All right. Get into it. Get into it. All right. Everybody, a few more minutes to get in here. Shalom. Yahweh Shamar Alathan by Shem Yahushua. All right. My servant Satan, merciless. Right, all right. Go ahead and get started. Or just type in any questions you got. You go ahead and type your questions in. All right. Okay, whoever Facebook user is, make sure you sign in for attendance. Whoever Facebook user is, just sign in your name for attendance. We'll go ahead and get started. Now, what does it mean? You have a lot of talk. You will hear these things, of course, because of the confusion that the Christian church has spread throughout the world by the lies that the Christian church has taught lying on the Bible, which, of course, why you hear us say to no end that if you are not in the ISUPK, you are not authorized to teach the Bible. You are not in the truth. You understand? You are not a man of God. Man of God is a very specific thing. There's a lot of words that get thrown around like faith, like love and charity and salvation and kingdom. We're going to go over a lot of these words. We're going to get some definitions of very important words that you must know, that you definitely want to understand in the Bible. We're going to get these definitions. All right. All right. Go over some topics here. Kingdom. All right. So, see where we're going to start here. All right. Start here. All right. All right. So, what the Lord has been constantly showing our people, this empire, this America, is getting worse and worse by the day. Of course, it is falling apart at the seams. leading up to the return of Christ. Of course, you have World War III brewing in Asia, in the Middle East, all over. War is just around the corner to break out everywhere. And what blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans must realize and learn is that there is no such thing as a sideline. You understand? They are targeting children in this war. The same children that you don't want to teach about race, the children that you want to teach that race does not matter. You understand? The same children that you want to, don't want them to have to learn about the past and learn about race, because in your mind, you think that these things are past. You think that it's over. Nobody needs to talk about it. Slavery was in the past. All of that is in the past. But our oppressors do not forget their past and their heritage. They don't consider that things are in the past and that's the end of it. The Bible says, consider the years of many generations. Of course, you hear me say these scriptures in these classes all the time. Deuteronomy 32 and 7 and 8. You want to consider the years of many generations. And as blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, our people have a great disservice, a crime done to us by not teaching us our importance of history. Our people don't understand and do not know history, because the ones that have invested to teach us things in certain portions of history, they are invested to teach us to love another nation of people, to love the Arabs, to be a Muslim, to love the Africans and go and call yourself an African or Pan-African. Say that Africa is the where life began, on the continent. Silliness that black people are taught, that not even the other races of people who don't come from Africa, who were not in slavery for hundreds of years, who speak their own native languages, who have their own native customs that their forefathers have handed down to them through the generations, through the centuries, they all have their heritage. There's only one people on the entire planet that looks to every other race of people to join them, their religion, their heritage, their language, their culture, their way of life, and their gods. And that is these lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. Understand this about yourself. If you are a so-called Hispanic, if you are a so-called Negro, a so-called West Indian, a so-called Haitian, a so-called Brazilian, a so-called El Salvadorian, a Mexican, a Honduran, a Guatemalan, a Nicaraguan, a Puerto Rican, if you are so-called Native American, a Seminole, a Cherokee, a Comanche, a Chickasaw, a Choctaw, a Cherokee, you understand, a Cree, a Shoshone, a Sioux, a Lakota, or Oglala, if you are a so-called Native American, a so-called black man or woman, a so-called Hispanic, a so-called Latino, understand something very important that you have never been taught about yourself, is that in your ancient records, in your history, the heritage and the bloodline that every other race of people holds so near and so dear and so precious to them, that they pass it down to their families throughout the generations. You are a race of people that your history and heritage is filled with so much crime and so much robbery and so much theft and rape and murder and slavery and so much genocide and hatred and violence that your forefathers do not want to teach you about your heritage, because it is so painful, it is so shameful, it is so polarizing that just the very mention of our heritage and what has been done to our people to make us speak Spanish, to make us speak English and take these English names like Williams and Johnson and Jenkins and Brown and Green and Jefferson and Jackson and Smith, you understand, and Green, all of these names, you understand, and Bullock and Terry and Cruz, all of these names, or Muhammad or Al just something, or to all of these names and heritages come from other nations of people like Reyes and Diaz and Ramirez and Sanchez and Colon, you understand, and Gutierrez and Lopez and Torres and De Almeida, you understand, and Silva and De Silva. All of these names, and Pizarro, all the Spanish language, the French, the Dutch, the Portuguese, you understand, the Pierres and the Jacques, all of these names come from our oppressor. All of the heritage that we have that has been passed down to us, you understand, that our people widely take on and accept, from Christianity to Islam to Catholicism to Buddhism to, you understand, to Rastafarianism. All of these cultures and heritages that our people practice are not the heritage of our forefathers. They're not our heritage. It is not your heritage to be a Rastafarian West Indian brother. That is a culture that the East Indians developed for the worship of their many gods. That is why you have dreadlocks in your head. Unbeknownst to you, black man, black woman, you have dreadlocks in your hair because your culture has been stolen from you. Dreadlocks are the culture of the worshipers of the Hindu goddess Shiva, right along with that marijuana, that ganja plant that our people worship like a god. You understand? That is East Indian culture. It is not black culture. It is not the culture of your forefathers. It is not something that you are allowed to do without forfeiting God's protection. This is how we, the soul is a myriad of things that our people are unaware of that we have been taught to do, because our heritage we discontinued because we went into slavery. Unbeknownst to you, Hispanic brothers and sisters, so-called Puerto Rican and Mexican and Cuban and Dominican, you understand, so-called Guatemalan and El Salvadorian and Honduran and Brazilian and Venezuelan and Bolivian and Colombian brothers and sisters of North, South, Central America and the Caribbean, my Spanish-speaking brothers and sisters that identify yourselves as so-called Hispanic or Afro-Latino, you understand, or Latinegro, the heritage that our forefathers have did not come from white men from Spain or from Portugal or from Italy, which is what Latin means. That's Italy. That's the Italians, the Romans, so-called white men who came and murdered and slaughtered and tortured and forced our people to take their culture, their gods, their Catholicism, their language. Those things, we have to come from under these cultures. We have to separate ourselves from the heritage that has been passed down to us from slavery and return to our ancient heritage that the God of our fathers, the God of the Bible, passed down to us, that we should keep and obey them throughout all of our generations, everywhere we are on this planet Earth. We have to return to these things, man. All right. Right. We're going to go now to Psalms chapter 49 and verse 11. This is what happened to our people. Psalms chapter 49 and verse 11. Like God wants us to see this. As a matter of fact, we're not going to start with Psalms 49 and 11. We're going to start with Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 4. This is what happened. You understand? This is what happened to our people. It is important to know so that we can retrace our steps to recover ourselves. We are destroyed as a people. You understand? I watched on a news story, and because of our people believing everything else is important except teaching what God said in the Bible, which is the fault of the Christian church, because they have made the Bible such a joke, such a fairy tale, filled with all kind of songs and dances like a damn Disney movie or Sesame Street, that no one respects or even cares about the word of God in the Bible, or reads it or understands it or seeks it with the severity of life and death, which not knowing and not abiding by God's rules causes us to die. Quadruple shootings in Norfolk, quadruple shootings in Portsmouth, double and triple shootings in Newport News, multiple stabbings in Richmond. You understand? Monkeypox, rampant child molestation, leading to brothers and sisters be turning their lives over to accept the culture of the abuse that was done to them. Now they call themselves the LGBT. A man dressing like a woman, laying down with another man, a woman dressing like a man, laying down with another woman, until everyone dies of AIDS, until the Lord sends a plague of smallpox, you understand, of the damn monkeypox on top of the AIDS that has already been plaguing our people since the 80s. You understand? Ungodly lifestyles and cultures that God told us we had no right, no option to take these lifestyles. But the Christian church made us believe that they were acceptable because they refused to teach us to never join another people and their cultures, which is what the Christian church did. It married us to America, married us to our oppressor, who then married us to the drug culture that he wanted for our people, to the homosexual culture that he wanted to marry our people to, the murderer, gangster, mobster culture that he used to marry our people to, by them taking over our music and wiping out our families and our economies, to that diva, boss lady, monster, dragon culture that they promote and push to black women here in America, to be a loudmouth dragon without the authority of her man, telling the man what to do, that she should rule and be in charge. And when you look into the families in the communities, she is the one that is raising all of the murderers and shooters all throughout the goddamn community. Our families are destroyed. Our people don't know our heritage. We don't know where we come from. What is our language? What was our diet? The things that we eat are not working for us. That is why we are number one in high blood pressure and cancer and AIDS. That's why we are number one, you understand, in gouts and strokes. We have a dietary laws and rules that the God of our fathers left for our people to live by and raise our children and families by. The problem is the Christian church taught us to ignore the manual that God gave to us for our race of people, to show us the proper way to live. And because of that, our young brothers do not know how to deal with an issue with each other. So they go and shoot and quadruple shoot up the goddamn neighborhood, because that is all the Christian church has left us. That is all the conflict resolution skills that we have learned from the church telling us to love and worship the white man, who is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Our people then turn to their gangster culture, their Italian gangster mobster gunslinger, Dodge City, Kansas shootout at the OK Corral, the peacemaker to resolve our problems, as opposed to the rules with the spirit of the Most High in Christ that God taught us how to deal with one another. You must bring your Black, Hispanic, and Native American sons and daughters into the ISUPK, so priests and prophets of the living God can teach your son how to solve a dispute with his brother. Because if you do not, hip hop will teach your son how to solve the dispute. Movies and video games will teach your Black and Hispanic son how to deal with problems with one another, how to go and get the blicky, you understand, how to go and grab the Glock and grab the Draco and shoot and murder their brother so that they can spend the next 1,000 years in prison like 2 million of the rest of our people. You need to bring your sons and daughters to get into our school. You understand? That is the only chance that they have. You sending them to school is not safety, man. The damn pedophiles is getting more and more rights to the children than the parents do. They done already took and hijacked your kids for goddamn 11, 12 hours a day. You don't get to see them. You don't know what the hell they learn. They come home talking different, walking different, speaking different, eating different, all kind of things going on. You don't know the first thing about what the hell is going on. Teachers teaching all kind of madness. You understand? Like, we need to rebuild our nation. Your money is not going to fix the problems in our community. Prince had plenty of money. He died a drug addict. Whitney Houston had plenty of money. Pimp C had plenty of money. Lord Infamous and Nate Dogg had plenty of money. You understand? Prince and Michael Jackson had plenty of money. Juice WRLD had plenty of money. Fredo Santana had plenty of money. King Von had plenty of money. MO3, Trouble, FBG Duck, Tupac, and Biggie had plenty of money. Money will not solve these problems, man. Islam will not solve these problems. Being a Black Panther will not solve these problems. Being a Muslim cannot solve these problems. Being a 5%er cannot solve these problems. We must turn back to the heritage and the culture and the way that our God taught us to live. And the only place that you can learn these things is in the Israelite school of universal practical knowledge. You understand? Time is very short. No one thought they would send their kids to elementary school and the elementary school would get shot up. No one sending their children to college ever thought Virginia Tech or Columbine or Sandy Hook or Park Middle School down in Florida would ever happen. Nobody thought that would happen. You understand? Time is running short. The Lord is closing the curtains on this place. God hates America. And the problem is we have been taught to love and be a part of America, which makes the Lord angry at our people. It makes the Lord remove his protection from our people that we would otherwise have had we obeyed him, man. But this is what happened. Jeremiah 17:4. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee. You can't be alive without your heritage. You don't know what to celebrate. You would imagine if you take some bird and this bird's whole life, the bird has been trying to be, let's say, a cat, or not even use a cat. Let's use a dog. The whole life of this bird, the bird has been trying to be a dog. The bird has lived with dogs. It's tried to eat the dog food. It's tried to bark like a dog. It's tried to walk around on all fours, even though it doesn't have four legs like a dog. Like the entire life of this bird is disrupted. It can't be what it's supposed to be. It can't. It can't understand the potential of why it was created. Everything that God created, he made for a specific purpose. God did not slip up and make you a woman when you were supposed to be a man. God made you a woman for a purpose. There's a specific purpose for a woman that God did not intend for a man. And there's specific purposes for a man that God did not intend for a woman. These are things, it is our heritage to understand this. And because the Christian church has not taught us the heritage that God gave us, that we discontinued from by being forced to live our lives like Greeks and Romans and white men and Arabs, you understand, in slavery, you understand, we are without the heritage that we so desperately need. The guidance. Everybody wants to talk about their ancestors. Their ancestors. I got news for you, black man. Your ancestors are not in that damn crystal or that sage that you burning. Those are not your ancestors. Your ancestors are not in that blunt or that backwood that you smoking. Those are not our ancestors. Our ancestors are not in Africa walking around smearing cows' feces and sticking their head up an elephant's behind, washing and bathing in piss of a cow or an elephant. Those are not our ancestors. Naked and barefoot in the jungle. Those are not our ancestors. Our ancestors are in this Bible. Our people and our heritage of exactly who we are, our present, past, and future is recorded in great detail, illustrating to this very day what we go to on a regular basis is recorded in this Bible. You understand? So the Lord said that thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee. You understand? What was the heritage that the Lord gave thee? Let's hold that. What heritage did the Lord give us, man? Let's go to Leviticus, the 11th chapter. What heritage that the Lord gave us? It's very important to learn. You understand? Our people, we have been relegated to a life without heritage. From our cities, our communities, our families, the father cannot inherit the children. They can't inherit with the knowledge and things that their father is supposed to pass down to them because our oppressors have cut off knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, which is the stability of our times. They've cut it off from our fathers. Our leaders have cut off our wisdom and understanding in the sight of the nations that the Lord said he gave us, man. They've cut it off by teaching us religion. You understand? teaching us to pray to rocks like Allah, which is a rock in the middle of the desert in Saudi Arabia that our people have been taught to pray to. Meanwhile, our communities are filled with Islam and also filled with murder and kidnapping and drug dealing, and we are piling up the prisons as Muslims and Christians. That is not the solution for our people, man. That's not the way that the Lord, our God, told us to go. You understand? Let's get Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 6. We're going to come back to that. We're going to hold that. We're going to go to Deuteronomy 4 and 6. The Lord said this, all right? Deuteronomy chapter 4 and 1. So when Jeremiah says we would discontinue from our heritage that I gave thee, the Lord did not give us the choice to choose something else. The alternative to life is death. You understand? We have alternatives to the way that God told us to live that we have not been properly educated on. And as a result, we seek an alternative way to live, which causes us to die, which is exactly what the Lord said would happen. Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 1, the Lord says, now therefore hearken, O Israel. The entire Bible talks about Israel, 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 the saints, the covenants, the forefathers of the nation of Israel. We spend our whole lives reading this Bible and have no idea who Israel is because the Christian preachers do not teach what God said. O Israel, you black man, Hispanic, Native American, you are Israel. You Seminoles, you Cherokee, you Lakota, you are Israel. You Comanche, you Navajo, you Cheyenne, you Wampanoag, you are Israel. You Oglala, you are Israel. You Mexicans and El Salvadorians, you are Israel. Haitian, you are Israel. Dominicans, you are Israel. Brazilians, Venezuelans, Argentinians, from the descendants of the slave trade and the natives of the Americas. You are Israel. You understand? And now therefore hearken, O Israel, unto the statutes and unto the judgments which I teach you. Judgments. We need to know judgments. Judgments are very important. We have communities that are filled with the most silly, foolish, and ignorant and arrogant thing that you could possibly say and hear, but it is so commonplace because Christianity rules our communities. You hear people say, don't judge. Don't judge. Don't judge. You don't judge. Don't judge me. Don't judge. How many people hear that? Raise your hand. Y'all hear that in class. Don't judge me. Don't judge. Don't judge. You can't judge. We got in here. We got Baltimore, Urash, Kwashah, Shalom. Shub Brother Thumb. Y'all was Shemala Thashima Rashad, sister. You understand? Who has heard that? Talk about don't judge me. Don't judge me. Don't judge. You understand? The Lord said he taught us judgments, because if there is no judgment established in your neighborhood, then in order for young brothers who get picked on and bullied and beaten by bigger brothers who are stronger than them, who will take their shoes, who will take their bicycles, who will beat them up and bully them in the neighborhood, because the Christian church has stripped the masculinity and the Holy Spirit of God out of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and has put Christianity and white supremacy inside of our people, there is no judgment. And because there is no judgment, a young brother who will be victimized or bullied by someone older, he now has to go and murder his way to justice. He has to shoot his way to justice, because you don't have the spirit of justice which comes from the living God inside of you. If you did, you would be in the ISUPK, so that every black, Hispanic, and Native American community would be filled with officers of 50s and hundreds and thousands and captains of 10,000s to rule the cities and communities. The result of not having the judgment set up the way that the Lord said is now the oppressor sends his force to execute judgment amongst our people. And his force to execute judgment murders Breonna Taylor in her sleep in her house. Murders Terrence Crutcher when his truck breaks down. Betty Shelby is our oppressor's justice. While you have been taught by your Christian family and your preachers and pastors all your life, don't judge, no judging, no judging. Well, because there is no judgment established amongst our people the way that God said we should have, because of that, Breonna Taylor gets killed in her house. Because you don't have judgment established for yourselves, another race of people will establish judgment over you. The Arabs aren't going to America's courtroom to get justice for their problems. The Chinese are not piling up in America's court to get justice for their problems or to deal with their juvenile issues and their marital and family issues, because you don't have judgment set up for your community. You don't have judgment and justice set up for ours, because everyone is in charge. Everyone has their own way. Everyone has their own beliefs. Everyone has their own leader. Everyone serves their own God. Everyone lives their own way. And because of this, we cannot have stability in our homes, in our families, raising our children, in our jobs, our industries. Nothing can be stable because we have no rules, which is the heritage that God gave us. Only you can learn this in the ISUPK. You can't learn this from the laws of Ma'at, worship in Egypt. Because the damn Egyptian gods was all homosexuals. They got hieroglyphs, the Egyptian god, some disgusting bastard upside down, putting his rod in his own goddamn mouth. That's who you praying to in Kemet and Nut and the Massanet and the Nutter. That's who you praying to in there with your homosexual hieroglyphs and all your sodomite Egypt gods having sex with beetles, having sex with animals. You understand? That's not going to fix our people. You understand? So when the Lord said discontinued from our heritage, we must know these things. And if you don't know, no sweat. You come to class, the ISUPK will teach you. But these things may seem small, but they are literally the difference between life and death if you are Black, Hispanic, and Native American. Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 1, the Lord said, now therefore hearken. Hearken means listen, O Israel, unto the statutes. That's why when you go to the courtroom, when they list your charges, they'll say statutes. They'll say your statutes. What law did you break? Section 1-9 of the Penal Code, WW's this, that, statute 1, Article 5, statute this, 2 counts, statute this, 3 counts of this, statute that, first degree, deadly weapon, statute this, negligent derelict of this, statute that, number 5. That comes from the Bible. Our oppressors' laws are not 100% biblical, but the idea of having statutes and judgment and judges, that comes from the Bible. The problem is, it is your heritage to know and have your own statutes, laws, commandments, and judges. The judges of your people are the generals in the ISUPK under commanding General Yohana. The officers of your people, like the officers that went down to, Vincent, Alabama. Get those brothers a hand, man. You understand? The officers of your people are in the ISUPK. They're not in the Nation of Islam. You understand? They ain't in the mosque. They're not in the church. They're not in the Black Panther Party. They're not in the Moorish Science Temple with Dr. Ali Muhammad selling you fake passports, having you end up in federal prison, buying from bootleg hustlers. Polite selling you books about how to pray and talk to crystals when he get rich and go to Beverly Hills and get a Bentley and a white girl. While you worshiping him, talking about Africa, Africa, he hustle you to get money to go get white girls, just like Martin Luther King did, because our people refuse to turn to the prophets that God set up. You understand? So this is our heritage, statutes and judgments, which I teach you. We need to learn these judgments. We need to learn to live our lives based on the judgments, the statutes of the Most High that brings so much protection. You don't have any idea. For you to do them, that ye may live, that we will live and go into and possess the land which the Lord God, the Most High Power of your fathers giveth you. We have a land to inherit. The Bible is to teach us to prepare to go back to our homeland. The Christian church has taught us a bunch of slave nonsense that has every Christian waiting and looking forward to dying so that they can go and be in some endless family reunion / cookout with Jesus and naked white babies with wings, where they can finally get to hug a good, sweet, true white man and just cry on Jesus and look up in his blue eyes with his dirty bleach blonde hair. And you could just say, see, it was all for Jesus. I knew Jesus, and just cry and dance like you do in church with your sodomite choir directors. That's not in the Bible. Jesus in the Bible was a terrorizing figure. You understand? When it talks about the return of Christ, it is going to be the worst day in all of human history. Worse than D-Day, worse than World War I, World War II, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the atom bomb, worse than the nuclear bombs dropping, the nuclear power plant reactor, 9/11. It is going to be the worst day in all of human history when Jesus Christ returns. And you are supposed to be preparing for it. This is the patience and the faith of why you serve God. This is the purpose for you repenting and accepting Jesus and following Christ, looking forward to the return of Christ when he is coming to shed so much blood on the planet for all of the evil that has been done to his people. This is what your whole faith is supposed to be based on, not loving your oppressors and integrating into their bedroom and joining their culture. That is against God. That's going to have you burned up with America in the lake of fire. When thermonuclear war, when Russia drops missiles, the same nuclear missiles that they're talking about on the news, the reason why they got commercials for tell you what to do if a nuclear blast explodes, which is nothing, because it don't matter what you do, you're going to die if it goes off. Don't give a damn where you are. You understand? But this is what they're saying. That's why Donald Trump created a space military so that they can look for Christ and the angels in outer space, because the Bible says Christ and the angels are coming from outer space. They know that, but we don't know that as a people. That's why the Lord sent his prophets in the ISUPK to reveal the secrets of the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven to you few who obeyed the call of the Most High when you heard the prophets of the Lord speaking on the streets, man. The rest of our people did not obey the call, just like they didn't obey Mattathias, just like they wouldn't obey Moses, just like they did not obey Noah. Most of our people did not. That's why it's prophesied that 2/3 of our people are going to die in the coming World War III, race war, civil war, international war, and nuclear war leading to the return of Christ. It's prophesied 2/3 of our people are going to die. And that is why. You understand? So don't take it as a light thing that the Lord called you in here. And when you get in here, act like this is something great and wonderful. You understand? Don't let your age, whatever socioeconomic status you have, whatever education or degree in the world, don't let that make you think that that means something when it comes to the Bible. Don't fool yourself. Don't let Satan steal something precious from you that you could not earn. That the Lord gave a gift to us to give us his truth and his Holy Spirit that now you are going to hold and cherish and treat it like it's something extremely valuable, which it is. You understand? So now, we at Jeremiah, Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 2. It says, ye shall not add unto the word which I command you. They doing a lot of adding. They're making new Bibles, the New King James, the Gay Bible, the Women's Bible, the Children's Bible, the Latter-day Saints Bible, the Watchtower Bible. They're doing all kind of adding and taking away and changing words, all kind of madness. The Lord said not to do that. Neither shall ye diminish aught from it. Don't diminish some of it. You understand? The Lord said sex is marriage. You have no right to change and say that marriage is a ring and a piece of paper when God said that a man laying down with a woman is marriage. You have no right to diminish aught of what the Lord said when God said that a man can have more than one wife, but a woman cannot have more than one man ever in her or his lifetime. You cannot diminish or change aught of what the Lord said. Equality is not in the Bible. That quest for equality nonsense has ruined our people. Brittany Griner right now is sitting in a Russian prison, a 6'8" gigantic lesbian that then chopped her breasts off smuggling drugs out the country. You understand? Because that's the only way to sustain that LGBT lifestyle. You must get high. You understand? Or the conscience of the great evil that has been done to you and the evil lifestyle that you have chosen that will eat away at you. So you need to have drugs. Now facing 10 years with 10 years or something in prison because of a quest for equality that our oppressor used, that battle of the sexes nonsense. You understand? That they have been pushing since the Greeks and the Romans. That's why all your movies now got some woman hero. You understand? That's what your Wonder Woman was about, your damn Catwoman. That's why the new Predator, the whole SEAL teams of goddamn Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 80s that fought the Predator to down to the last man, trained CIA operative and military killing tools. They could not take out the damn Predator but Arnold Schwarzenegger by himself. And now some 4-foot middle school little girl who goes toe to toe with Native American warriors who couldn't kill the Predator. This little girl, for the sake of feminism and woman empowerment and witchcraft to fool our sisters into thinking this way, this little girl now is able to kill the goddamn Predator in the jungle. You understand? Like, this is witchcraft being done on our people. You understand? Because we don't have our heritage. If you are a Black, Hispanic, and Native American woman, understand this. God did not make you to be a warrior. You are not a warrior. You aren't made to be an army man. You aren't made to be in the jungle fighting wars. You understand? The Lord did not make you that way. That's why your bones are softer. That's why your features are more delicate. That's why you're smaller. That's why your joints are softer. That's why your skin is softer. That's why you don't have all the testosterone that it takes to go to do warfare and battle. That's why your voice is lighter. That's why your hands are softer, your bones, your skin. Everything about you is tender and delicate. You're not made for battle and warfare. You understand? And taking life and being on the front line and being in the defense and being in the front of every damn thing. That is not what a woman is for. You understand? That is how you destroy a woman, to steal her heritage that God created when he made her a woman. That steals from a woman. You being taught that you should be in charge is stealing from you. That is toxic femininity, stealing from you, telling you that your career is more important than the babies and being a wife and a mother, which is the whole purpose God made you a woman in the first place. That is what a woman is for. That is why God made you a woman. You understand? The Christian church has stolen that from our sisters, the heritage that God gave for the daughters of Zion. You understand? They've stolen it from our sisters. The African woman has hers. The Arab, the East Indian, Mei Ling is running that carry out in that beauty supply store, and Danny Wong is right there beside her. Danny Wong showing up, collecting the money. Danny Wong making sure this is going on. No one is separated in America except you. The whole purpose has always been, since the Garden of Eden, the purpose has been to run game on you, Black woman, Hispanic, Native American woman. That was the whole purpose. The serpent ran game on Eve so that she could get the power by destroying her man and destroying her and destroying the future generations that would come from her or that would die once she aborts them to be a diva. That was the whole purpose from the very beginning. You understand? This is why the Lord said, neither shall ye diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you. You must understand that the God of the Bible is the God for our nation of people. This is not a God that includes other races. This God is not including the Africans, the Arabs, the white man, the East Indians, the Polynesians and Hawaiians, Filipinos, the Aborigines. The God of the Bible is not for them. That's not their heritage. Their heritage is to stick their head in an elephant's behind. Is to circumcise women and cut their clitoris off. That's a real African. Oh, y'all want to be Africa. That's real authentic African culture. Say goodbye to that clitoris. They're going to take a razor to it and cut it away. They don't know what the hell it's for. We know what it's for in the ISUPK. They don't believe a woman should have it in Africa. Since y'all want to be so damn African, you understand? That's not our heritage. You understand? That ain't our heritage. That's not our culture. You understand? It says your eyes have seen what the Lord did because of Baal Peor. For all the men that followed Baal Peor, followed other gods, the Lord thy God have destroyed them from among you. The Lord is telling us that by following other gods, the Lord kills our people for doing that. You understand? Verse 4, it says, but ye that did cleave unto the Lord your power, all are alive, every one of you this day. You understand? We alive, obeying the Most High. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my power commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it. The reason why we cannot possess land or take cities, take towns, you understand? We cannot possess land and control things without obeying the Lord. They said Atlanta was the black Wakanda. They said Atlanta was Wakanda, the black center for black excellence. There was a place called Harlem, New York. Shalom Anna, Shalom Shad Yala. Who here has ever heard of Harlem, New York? Trooper Mataza, whoever Facebook user is, you got to sign in for attendance. All right. Who here has ever heard of Baltimore, New York? Harlem, New York. Anybody ever heard of Baltimore? Harlem, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. You understand? Franklin, Virginia. Who here has ever heard of Franklin, Virginia? You understand? Who's heard of these places? Richmond, Virginia. Washington, D.C. These are areas that were filled, historically black areas, filled with black people, black culture, black business, black money, black education, the Harlem Renaissance. You understand? Washington, D.C., Harlem, New York, Detroit, some of the blackest places in the entire country after slavery. You understand? Blackity black everything, the mecca of all blackness. Atlanta, Georgia, all the black money and wealth and businesses and all the black power. You understand that we are able to gather and amass great wealth. We have talent. We have abilities. You understand? The Bible says a gift cometh without repentance. The Lord gave us gifts, abilities to play sports, abilities to think, to do all the inventions, to create, like this laptop that we own and the cell phone and video games invented by Jerry Lawson, home video game consoles. And John Standard invented the damn refrigerator, freezer, and icebox, and Garrett Morgan, the traffic lights, subway rail cars, elevators, elevator doors, escalators, heaters, freezers. You understand? All of these inventions and things that we have created. The Lord made us a great, special, and a holy people. And the laws that God gave us were so that we could go and possess land. We could possess cities and towns. What happened to these cities and towns that we were able to build up? Because we built up great cities. In Africa, we built up great cities, great centers of excellence and power. When the white man got access to Africa, the Africans showed him where we were on the West Coast. And we had cities. If you read one of our textbooks from Babylon to Timbuktu, on page 90, it tells you what we were doing and why they came and got us and not the Africans. That we were leather workers and metal workers and mathematicians and translators and legislators and revenuers. That we knew how to keep and manage money and manage an empire with finances. You understand? We were mathematicians and scholars. We were masons. We knew how to build and construct and lay bricks and build cities and towns, experts in agriculture, work field and crops, farm and grazing animals. That's all we did throughout the Bible. We herded sheep, we herded goat, cattle. We made and built cities and families. They were warriors, goldsmiths, iron workers, leather workers, masons, brick workers. We had so much talent, skill, and ability. That is why they came to get us in Africa and not Africans. And when they took us from Africa, nothing happened in Africa until we had developed all of these wonderful things in America, like the refrigerator, the TV, the freezer, the icebox, the catalytic converter for the automobile engine. All of these things and inventions came from America because the people that did the inventing were in slavery in America. They didn't have them in Europe. They didn't have them in Europe because the white man couldn't invent them. You understand? This is our heritage to know who we are. Calling yourself an African cheapens you. Calling ourselves Americans cheapens us. It's not our culture. It's not our heritage, man. And had we kept our heritage, we would have never lost our home, and we would have never lost these cities that we built up after we got out of slavery. You understand? The Lord said these laws, statutes, and commandments would teach us to possess the land everywhere we went. Therefore, verse 6, Deuteronomy 4 and 6, keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations. This is what makes us wise. You understand? A bunch of foolishness is what our people thinks is wise now. A bunch of foolish things. Saying that we've evolved behind matriarchy, letting the man be in charge. We've evolved past that. Now, girls, we won the world, and the woman is in charge. And every other race of people, no woman is in charge. The Queen of England does not run England. She's the woman that you see. She does not run England. The wealth and the power and prestige that England has, the strength and the might of that wealth comes from America. You understand? America's strength and might comes from their senators and governors and that military with the missiles and rockets and raptors and turrets and bombs. That's their power behind that legislative pen. You understand? And we have lost God's wisdom by trying to put mommy in charge, and that has caused the entire society to fail. God's wisdom on a man and a woman being together. America has taught us that we could be separate and live our own separate lives. That has destroyed the community. The very fabric of what it means to have a community. Communities are built on families. We've been trying to have a family the last couple of decades without the essentials to the family. The husband, the wife, and the children. We've been trying to have families with the baby mama and some kids here. And, you know, the man has been kicked out of the community. He ain't a part. He ain't in charge of the family no more. And then, you know, the kids, we don't need a man. We don't understand a man's authority. And the woman being taught, woman, thou art loose, you on your own. And then every predator can come and prey on the community because the watchman in every house has been removed, which was that father. That is why you have police swarming through your neighborhood, because the judgment that the Lord set up so that the fathers and the brothers and the husbands in every city, every community, every neighborhood would make sure that everything was taken care of in that home, in that house, in that neighborhood. They would make sure that things were in the rightful order. That is how it's supposed to be. By the Christian church teaching us to just sing and clap and dance and hug and kiss and rely on our oppressor society, we have been put at the mercy of our enemies who hunt us. You understand? That's why it's important to keep God's laws, to not eat pork, not eat crab, shrimp, and lobster, not accept homosexuality and abortion, and not murder our babies, and not celebrate the 4th of July and Labor Day, Easter and Mother's Day and Father's Day, not allow the gods of the other nations to come and join them in their culture. Those things are against God. That is not wise, and it weakens us. And this is what the Lord is saying. Keep therefore and do them, For this is your wisdom and understanding in the sight of the nations. Even if our people did not know and understand history, we would know that God's laws say that we can never join another race of people. We can't marry them, like it says in Deuteronomy 7:6. So whatever wealth that we had in our community, another nation of people would never be welcomed into our community. We're not talking about doing violence and burning down stores the way they did to our businesses, but we are talking about obeying God's laws. You understand? And if we obey God's laws, any wealth that we got would have stayed in our community. It would have stayed there. Any brother that had more wealth, the money in his wealth would have circulated around our community till we generated more. We would have never married white women like Jack Johnson, like O.J. Simpson, like Martin Luther King, like John Legend, like Terrence Howard, like who is that? Sugar Shane Mosley. Would have never had interracial marriages like Eve and the Williams sisters. It would have never been acceptable. We would have never taken the culture and removed the confines and the permanency that God intended for sex to be marriage. We would have never had all of these broken families and destroyed community had we kept the wisdom and the understanding that the Lord said. And we kept the wisdom and the understanding that a man can have more than one wife, and you lay down and have sex with a woman, you are stuck with her. She cannot leave you, and you cannot throw her away. You cannot. That would have forced us to maintain families, which God is going to force us to obey him. You understand? All of that, you want to be a lesbian and 2 men and 2 women, God is going to give monkeypox and your face is going to fall off. You're going to have bumps and lesions and blisters and leprosy all over you. You understand? On top of the AIDS and the hepatitis. You understand? The Lord is not giving alternate choices. The Lord is giving ultimatums. This is his way. Do this and ye shall live. All those who don't do it are going to die. This is what God said. We've been taught that there was some other way. There is no other way. The opposite way to what God says is herpes, AIDS, gonorrhea, chlamydia, syphilis. That's the opposite way of what God said. You understand? The opposite way is you raise children by yourself. You get rid of that man out the house. And now you don't have a father to discipline those children. You can't stop your daughter from screwing out of both draw legs because you got to spend 15 hours at work and several hours back and forth in between traffic just to get back home. You don't know what the hell your kids were doing. My mother had the slightest idea. Nobody's mother know what the hell their kids are doing. You double back and go out to work. The kids go to the bus stop and double back home, sit in the house, eat up all the snacks, run through all the girls in the neighborhood, sit, smoke weed, play video games, get straight Fs. You don't know what the hell your kids are doing. And what's the alternative? The truancy officer coming and putting your kids in jail because you don't have no man that's the true authority of that house in the first place. You going to be the authority? You going to beat him every time you get upset to weaken and effeminize your son or harden him to turn him into a criminal, to go out in the streets to abuse people the way you did, thinking that you're supposed to have the disciplinary power? You don't understand how the Lord set life up. Our people is absolutely confused 9 ways to Sunday in this empire because the wisdom and the understanding that the Lord our God gave us, we have not been taught. You understand? That's why he said, Deuteronomy 4:6, keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes. They're going to hear the way that you live your life. I was in the lift and I talked to some Hamite was driving the lift and he said, oh, happy Thanksgiving. I said, nah, we don't celebrate Thanksgiving. He says, what? Really? You don't? Why? Why do I say, nah, me and my family, we don't celebrate Thanksgiving. That's against our God. That's against our people, man. They murdered our brothers and sisters and throw a celebration. And then everybody comes to America and they eat and celebrate a party on the death of our family. He says, what? Oh my goodness, I did not know. You are so wise how you learn so much. And then he said, well, I tell you a story. My daughter, my wife, she give my daughter this toy. And she said, I tell her, don't give this to her. Don't give this to her. She already don't listen. And she said, I give my daughter this toy. And now my daughter never listens to her mother. Her mother tell her she don't listen. She said, come, she don't listen. She said, stop, she don't listen. All she do is play with that lift. And then you know what? She come back and tell me. I said, well, that's why the Lord said the man is supposed to be in charge. She's supposed to honor you and listen to what you're saying. She don't value the authority that the Lord put in a man to rule that house. She's got that Christian spirit to challenge your authority. That's an instinct. And that's a demon that has to be taught out of our sisters to challenge your authority. He don't know best. He don't know. I carried that baby for 9 months. He don't know what he's talking about. She young anyway. Go on, enjoy it. Don't listen to your father. Don't listen to him. And then he said, my wife come tell me. She said, you were right. Says, hey, what do you do? How did you learn this? You are so smart. Why did you learn these things? And he's sitting there talking. And I'm like, well, listen, this is the wisdom and the understanding that God said was all of us were supposed to have. Like, this is your heritage to have this wisdom and understanding. That's why it's in Proverbs. The Bible are records for you, for us, for our people. So you would know. So when they hear these, they say, you know what? Ain't no use us setting up a business here. They're not going to support us. Them sisters make their own hair stuff. They buying from her. They said, we not Israelites. I don't know exactly. We can't be in here. They said, well, I understand that you sell fish in this neighborhood, but, Sister Anna sell fish. So we get our fish from Anna because she's our sister and we got to support her. So that one day when my daughter needs a job, that my daughter does not have to go and beg the white man that's in charge of Target. She's going to go to Anna and get a job working in our neighborhood with all of this wealth here, working at Anna's fish store. So when Anna opens 8 more fish stores all throughout the rest of the city, guess what? My daughters will have jobs. Urash's daughters will have jobs. Rashad's son will have jobs. Everybody eating the fish dinners. The food is good as hell. Everybody eating her roast beef. Everybody eating the greens that Sister Kaya is making. Why the hell are we going to the Chinese man? Because our families, the understanding about how to keep a community together. You understand the economics about family. These things that we keep together amongst ourselves is what every race of people does with themselves. We cannot do it because our families are broken. Our spirits are broken. Our understanding and wisdom is gone. That is why God said this. Keep and do these. This is your wisdom in the sight of the nation. Can't bring that over there. No, we can't do that. Ain't no Muslims over there. How are we going to set up a mosque? They don't serve our God. They say that that's the God of the Arabs. The brother tried to say, well, Allah is everybody's God. He did that. Them brothers blazed him off the block. He came back and gave us the dope back and gave him breeds and the man dress. And he said, no. He said, the brothers told me that wasn't right. That's not acceptable over there. We don't want him in our community. He ain't one of us. We were just trying to get an inroad into their community so we can set up an Arab fried chicken spot, open a mosque, and these dummies think that we having brotherhood with them when really we just setting up businesses. They not sharing no oil money with you in the ghetto. You selling cool water. They selling petrol on the stock market. You understand? They won't join us. Ain't no use. They won't join us. And guess what? They not joining you either. That's wisdom. That's how you fight. That's how you have warfare. That's true battling. That's spiritual warfare. Well, them brothers over there, they don't have sex with white women. They don't have sex with Asian women, Arab women, African women. We can't get no ball players. We can't get no Japanese tennis players because the Haitian brothers don't have sex with Japanese women. So I guess Japan is never going to win any of these tennis tournaments unless some Haitian brother goes and has sex with a Japanese woman. There won't be a Naomi Osaka. She would be Naomi Bathloya. She wouldn't be Naomi Osaka, her or her sister, because the brother would have married his sister and had babies. But now Japan gets the glory for the skill from the seed of that God's chosen people of the tribe of Levi, because he went and gave his strength to another nation. You understand? And that weakens us. And if we turn back to the Lord, it would make us stronger. This is what the Lord has been trying to teach us since the book of Genesis, literally since Genesis. You understand? And they would say, verse 7, Deuteronomy 4 and 7, for what nation is there so great, who have God, who have power so nigh unto them, as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for? You understand? He said all the things that we call upon him, they're so great and powerful. Their God is not like our God. They prayed and their God flooded our village, sent this plague that killed everybody, shut Mecca down with the COVID virus. We're no more circling that rock in Saudi Arabia. Shut the churches down with the COVID virus. That's what their God. Allah didn't tell them nothing about that. Rashta, Krishna, Caesar Borgia, your pastors didn't know nothing about the God of the Bible that we pray to, sending the curses that we pray for. They didn't know nothing about it. We knew because Commander General Yohanan told us, because the Lord told him to tell us. We already knew. They didn't know. And lo and behold, you understand? He said their God is different from ours. The gods that they prayed to in India, they were burning bodies in the streets. It was so much death from COVID. They took all of their statues, all of their pictures of those idols that they prayed to. They were running them over with bulldozers and burning them with the bodies. They said these gods do nothing for us. But them people there, their God is close. Their God is real close to them because they obey him. And that's how it's supposed to be. You understand? And the more and more our people turn back to obey the Most High, the more the God of the Bible will get the proper respect and honor that he deserves. And then when the God of the Bible gets the respect and honor that he deserves as we obeying him, guess what? Then we gonna get the respect and honor that we deserve because we are the children of the living God. And that is our wisdom. That's our understanding. You understand? So that's what he said in verse 9. Only take heed to thyself. Be careful and keep thy soul. Your soul is your spirit, your mind diligently. You got to keep your mind diligently, continuously. You got to be diligent because everything is coming to attack your mind, coming to tell you to accept homosexuality, accept smoking weed and cigarettes and backwoods and Black and Milds, to accept abortion. Killing your baby is just a normal way of life. It ain't no big deal. Well, you know, to defend it, everybody not ready to have a child. You can have a child at any time. You can just wait till you take your time. And if you're not ready, you know, you can start your family. No, you murdering a baby. You understand? And when you commit a murder, you release evil spirits, that the Lord send evil spirits so that more murder keeps happening. Everybody in the streets, stop the violence. Stop the violence 803. Stop the violence 804. Stop the violence 757. Y'all don't talk about stopping the abortions. Abortion is the number one killer consecutively. That means year after year after year. The number one killer in the Black, Hispanic, and Native American community. More than AIDS, murder, gun violence, strokes, high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, all together, the number one killer of our people is abortion. And all of those stop the violence, put the guns down. Nobody is talking about abortion the way they're talking about put the guns down. If you can kill the baby inside of you, why the hell can't the teenager go and kill the baby once it's outside of you? Murder is murder. The Lord does not protect the hypocrites. The Bible says the hypocrite have no protection in the day of judgment or in the day of trouble. I'm paraphrasing. You can't be pro-abortion and then not want murder all in your community. God will laugh at you and send evil spirits to make all your sons shoot up everything. You understand? It is our heritage to understand how the God of the Bible works. That's our Father. You need to know that. We need to learn these things. We telling our people, but so few of our people come to learn. Barakatah Yahweh Yahweh for you brothers and sisters. Anyone that you love or that loves you, They should be in these classes. They should be in here trying to learn how to serve the Lord, man. If they love you, you love them, they be in here. You understand? Two can't walk together except that they agree. All right? That's what the Bible says, man. So this is what the Lord is saying. Only take heed to thyself and keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen, and lest they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life. But teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons. Like we're supposed to teach these things to our sons. Our sons are supposed to have an inheritance of being told so many stories, so much rich heritage and entertainment. Because when we send our kids to school, even if you homeschool, and the education and curriculum outside of the ISUPK is not for your Black, Hispanic, and Native American sons and daughters. They put gay sex education in the school curriculum. They put trans reading day in the school curriculum. They put abortions in the school curriculum. You understand? Everything except for God's laws, statutes, and commandments. They took in same-sex tolerism in the school curriculum, LGBT awareness and pride in the school curriculum. Everything except for what the Lord said is going to be taught. Whether you consent to it, know it, stand against it, agree, disagree, this is something you have to actively be doing. And there's so much passive things being done in our community, which is why no other race of people respects us. They don't respect us because everybody's so goddamn passive that wants to hope about it, sing about it, pray about it, light a damn candle about it. But when it comes to the actual work of you taking your hands to make sure things get done, well, we got to vote. That's why we got to vote. That's why you got to vote for the sheriff. You got to vote for better councilmen. And we got to talk to the mayor. How about you not have sex with your neighbor's wife? Let's start there. So that when he comes home, he doesn't kill you and her. We can stop murder right there. Teach your son sex is marriage. You understand? So that he don't go and have sex with some little girl if he's a little boy or a young brother or teenager that has already had sex with two other boys. So that when they go out to play or somewhere, and the Lord in his anger, because you have failed to teach your son that sex is marriage, and he want to have sex with Kiki because everybody know Kiki do a whole bunch of things. Everybody know. Except that makes the Lord send evil spirits to have everyone get shot in the neighborhood. That's why there are quadruple shootings in Portsmouth and Norfolk and Richmond. Everybody had sex with this whore. You must teach them diligently unto your son, or you will end up burying him because you did not have the warnings of the Lord that are diligently supposed to be taught. You'll end up burying your daughter because you did not teach her that sex is marriage, or you didn't bring her into these ISUPK classes so that I can teach her what God said, so the prophets of God can teach her what the Lord said, so that she can learn before she makes a fatal mistake that is so common amongst our people that no one teaches our people how to avoid making. That's what most of these shootings are in Baltimore, in Richmond, and in DC and Woodbridge. You understand? The Lord sends and causes these shootings because we don't obey the Most High. We must know that. Everything, there's a cause and effect. A curse does not come without a cause. That's what the Lord said, man. All right. So now the Lord said, teach them diligently. So now let's go back to Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 4. When the Lord said, and thou, even thyself, shall discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee. You understand? What is the heritage that the Lord gave us? Let's go to Leviticus, the 11th chapter, just a brief. What is the heritage that comes from God? You understand? Leviticus chapter 11. Everyone has to do these things. And it's important to know that we have rules about how we are supposed to function, because we are not like every other nation of people that could just pick up whatever, wherever, and just eat it, cook it, burn it, and then just call it food and eat it. We are not allowed to do that. That's what animals do. That's what wild animals and mice and rats and roaches, whatever they find, they'll take it and stuff it in their damn mouth and call it food. That is not how we are supposed to live. That's a heathen's life. You understand? That's how our oppressor finds food, how the Moabites find food, how the Hamites find food. That is not how we get food. The Lord gave us rules on what is food and what is not food. Leviticus chapter 11 and verse 2. This is our heritage. Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, these are the beasts which ye shall eat amongst all the beasts that are on the earth. There are animals that God created for us to eat. All the vegans you listening to, and we were never made to eat meat. I remember we were in Petersburg, and some brother in Petersburg told us, see, from the beginning, God never told us to eat meat. We're not supposed to eat sentient beings and the chicken and the animal. We were never supposed to do that. Well, this is what God said. These are the beasts which ye shall eat that are on the earth. And this is our heritage to know what is food and what is not food. Whatsoever parteth the hoof and is cloven footed and cheweth the cud, among the beasts shall ye eat. Very specific. Nevertheless, these shall ye not eat. Of them that cheweth the cud is grass. Of them that divideth the hoof, as the camel, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. It is our heritage to know what to eat. As much as you love Big Mama, as much as you love your mother and father and brothers and sisters and all the professors that you have met in school and in life, God's wisdom is above all of their wisdom. The Bible says the wisdom of man is foolishness unto God. The Lord said he taketh the wise in their own devices. I'm paraphrasing. Their own wisdom causes them to triple up. Imagine you being 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, and you have been eating for 70 years, and you don't know that you are eating things that are not food. Imagine that. Imagine you live your whole life calling yourself an adult, educated, know how to take care of yourselves. You can feed yourself, take yourself to the bathroom, wash, dress yourself, get your own medicine when you're sick, talk for yourself. You know all of these things, but you do not know what is food and what is not food. Imagine that. Well, that's how our people are living, because the heritage that what God said is food and what God said is not food, we have discontinued, and we must take that back. It may seem like it's not important until you go to the doctor and your feet start to rot away and your fingers and your toes stop working and they turn black and discolored, and they say, we got to cut the feet. We got to take a foot, take an ankle, take a leg, take a hand, take some toes. You understand? Until you have excruciating pain in your feet from decades of eating the wrong foods, man. There's a place for everything under the sun, and many animals do not have a place at the end of your fork. Let's see what the Lord said. All right. A camel, we are not supposed to eat. Verse 6, it says, and the hare is a type of rabbit, because he cheweth the cud. The rabbit will eat the grass, but divideth not the hoof. He is unclean. You can't eat a rabbit. A rabbit is not food. You understand? Tons of brothers and sisters were raised in the South, eating rabbit stew, kill a rabbit, skin a rabbit. That rabbit is not food. Bugs Bunny is not food. You cannot eat him. Verse 7, and the swine is a pig, though he divideth the hoof, and be cloven footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean unto you. You cannot eat a pig. You cannot eat pork. You cannot eat pork bacon, pork sausage, things that have pork. You cannot eat them. That's not food. Think of all of the pork chops, all of the fat back and pig's feet and pepperoni, pork pepperoni, and ham, pork ham, all of the pig ears and hog maws and carnitas. Carnitas. I watched some Mexican brother and his father said, my father had been making carnitas, for decades. He kept his family business for us. And the father is old and his body don't halfway work and he can barely move from decades of eating and feeding his family pork. That's why he's damn near can't move, can't hardly talk. He jammed up real bad, a couple of strokes in him. He damaged thoroughly because it is the heritage of Mexicans and Native Americans and black people to not eat pork. But their family business is selling pork to our people, selling pork, eating pork. And the Lord, because we not obeying him, then we end up jammed up with a bunch of health problems. This is the heritage that we discontinue. Serving God doesn't have anything to do with beating a tambourine and dancing around. You understand? While they in church dancing and singing and not learning the heritage that God wants us to recover, our people are being taught and allowed to eat things that the Lord will kill us for eating. You understand? It says of their flesh, their dead body, that pork bacon, that pepperoni, that pork pepperoni, their dead body, of their flesh ye shall not eat. You can't eat their flesh. Of their carcass shall you not touch. You can't touch their dead body. They are unclean unto you. You can't touch their dead body. They're unclean. You understand? All right. These shall ye eat that are in the waters, animals that live in the water. There are a lot of things that live in water. Squid live in water. Crawfish live in water. Crabs, lobster, shrimp, mussels, clams live in water. Seahorse, sharks live in water. Tuna and swordfish live in water. You understand? Octopus and jellyfish live in water. You understand? These are the beasts that live in the water that you are allowed to eat. And all that have not fins, it says, these, Salakia, Leviticus 11 and 9, these shall ye eat of all that are in the waters. Imagine you going in the water and you just pick something out the water and you start cooking it and eating it, man. We have rules. We are royalty. We are princes and princesses of the power. You are not allowed to just put anything that you snatch up out the water that's on the menu, that's in the grocery store. You aren't allowed to just eat anything. You are not a raccoon. You're not a pig. You're not a dog. You're not a feral animal scratching and scraping and clawing and just digging up and swallowing whatever you can find anywhere that there's food. There are rules to what you are allowed to eat. Teach them diligently to your children. It will save their lives. Imagine all the struggle that brothers and sisters go through trying to change their diet after 50 and 60 years when they could have been taught properly what the Lord allowed us to eat and not eat at 1 and 2 years old. And the struggle of trying to convince Big Mama and Auntie Tia and Kim and Nene and Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Ricky to not eat pork chops and baby back ribs anymore. No matter how much that foot swells up and them toes turn black and them fingers turn blue, nobody is going to stop eating crab, pork, shrimp, and lobster. I came into the truth and I told my mother, stop eating pork, crab, shrimp, and lobster. It's against the Lord. I told my grandmother and grandfather, the Lord said we cannot eat these things. This is against God. The Lord is against us for this. I told my uncle, they would make jokes. He said, listen, you want some pork? They taught the kids to make a joke. The kids said, well, you know, you want some pepperoni? We got pepperoni. You know, we got pepperoni. I said, if you love those children and you don't want to bury them, you should stop feeding them pork because the Lord will take them from you. You understand? And as I come into this truth and humbled myself to learn from the prophets that the Lord set up, you understand, the generals and captains and officers, and General Commander General Yohana, General Mahaiman teaching us and sitting in class with General Shawamar, General Kathumgabar, and Kabbalah and Captain Meshach Mayam, you understand, Captain Asha Parya, Captain Nayathat, Captain Kahuntham Yad, and Captain Akkad, and humbled and learn and sit and learn and take notes and realize that what we have been taught was wrong. What mommy and daddy taught us in the world, in Islam and Christianity and the Moorish science and Rastafarianism was wrong. That is not the heritage that God wanted us to have. And we have to be born again and change what we think is right and wrong. What we believe is acceptable and unacceptable. We have to change. You understand? So this is why it's saying, now, this is what the Lord says here in Leviticus chapter 11 and verse 9. This is the heritage that we discontinued. These shall ye eat that are in the waters, whatsoever have fins and scales in the waters, in the seas, in the rivers. Them shall ye eat, wherever water you go to. If it's a swamp, a pond, a lake, a creek, a stream, you understand, the ocean, the sea, they must have fins and scales. You cannot eat a squid. You cannot eat tuna. Tuna does not have fins and scales. You cannot eat mackerel. They do not have fins and scales. Anchovies have fins and scales. Sardines have fins and scales. Kipper has fins and scales. Catfish, you cannot eat a catfish. It does not have fins and scales. There's a Vietnamese catfish called swai, S-W-A-I, or swai, that you see now just started to show up in the grocery stores. That is a Vietnamese catfish. You cannot eat swai. You understand? You cannot eat swordfish. It does not have fins and scales. Red snapper has fins and scales. Whiting and trout and bass and croaker have fins and scales. Sunfish and crappie have fins and scales. Tilapia has fins and scales. You understand? Kipper and anchovies, salmon, cod, perch has fins and scales. You understand? Those are fish. Those are things that are lawful. Shrimp does not have fins and scales. Squid and octopus and calamari and shark and swordfish, they do not have fins and scales. Tuna is not food. It does not have fins and scales. You got tuna in your house, get it out of there. Open all of those cans, dump them out, let the dog, let the cat eat them. Get them the hell out of your house. It's not food. You understand? Feed it to the cat. Let the cat eat it. Throw all them cans away. You understand? It's not food. Feed it to the dog. Let the dog eat it. Damn dog will eat anything. But it's not food for people. You as an Israelite, as a Black, Hispanic, or Native American, are not allowed to eat tuna or catfish or pork or crab or shrimp or squid or crawfish, crabs, lobster, octopus, clams, mussels, scallops. We are not allowed to eat those things. You understand? The Lord is against that. The Lord will hurt us for these things. The Lord will hurt your children for you feeding them these things, teaching them that this is acceptable. You understand? The Lord said, "You shall not eat of their flesh." All right? It says, and all that have not fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, of all that move in the water. You find a turtle in that water. You find a frog in that water. You cannot eat a frog. You can't eat a turtle. You see a snake swimming in the water, you can't eat him. An electric eel, you cannot eat him. You understand? An alligator, you pull a gator out the water, that's not food. You can't eat an alligator or a crocodile or a caiman. You understand? An eel, a snake, a river water moccasin. You cannot just snatch up whatever you find and just throw it on the damn grill and eat it like a Chinese man. You cannot do that. Like an African, you cannot do that. All right? That's not our heritage. That is against God. That will anger God, and God's anger, his wrath, falleth upon the children of disobedience. You don't want to lose that foot? Stop eating things that God said not to eat. You don't want to lose those toes and those fingers? Don't eat things that the Lord said not to eat. You don't want to die of a heart attack at 19 or 20? Don't eat things that the Lord said not to eat. This is our wisdom and our understanding. All right? It says, verse 11, they shall be an abomination unto you. You are to see it as something filthy and disgusting when you see it. It's supposed to disgust you to see that someone would take a sea roach or a spider, which is a crab, or a sea roach, which is a shrimp, or an underwater trash compactor like a clam or a mussel or a scallop, and try to crack the damn trash compactor open and dig out the trash bags and put it on your plate and fry it and tell you these are clams and mussels. It should disgust you. The Lord wants you to be disgusted at shrimp and clams and crab and crawfish. You understand? And if anyone loves you, they won't eat them. They won't bring it around you. If you were a Muslim, they would respect that. If you were a homosexual, they would respect that. If you came and you wore a dress and you were a man in a damn dress, Lord forbid, don't do it. They would find a way to, well, you know, you still our family. You still my cousin. It's 2022. It's all love. If that's how you want to live, no. That's not acceptable to the Lord. And because it's not acceptable to the Lord, I cannot accept it. We cannot accept it. You should not accept it. And by us doing that, we will be able to take a city, keep a city, maintain an inheritance to pass to our children for all generations. This is how we lose things, by disobeying the Most High. Everybody make sure you hit the thumbs up, hit the share, hit the subscribe on Facebook, YouTube. Everybody make sure you sign in for attendance. Facebook, Instagram, MeWe, TikTok, Reddit. You understand? It's the other one. Tumblr. You watch it on Twitch. Everybody make sure you sign in for attendance so the officer taking attendance can get your attendance down. All right? This is our heritage to understand these things. All right? All right? The Lord gives us orders of what we can and can't eat. A snake. You can read the 11th chapter on your own. A snake. You cannot eat a snake. All right? You can't eat a snake. That's not food. You can't eat a snake. You can't eat a vulture. You can't eat a duck, an owl, a squirrel, a bat. Nothing with paws. A raccoon, if it's got paws, you can't eat it. A lizard, an iguana, you cannot eat it. The chicken of the tree, you're not allowed to eat an iguana. My El Salvadorian and Central American brothers and sisters, an iguana is not food. My South American brothers and sisters, a guinea pig is not food. A hamster, you cannot eat a hamster or guinea pig. That's not food. You understand? Coming to ISUPK, Commander General Yohana will make sure that you have food that is good and lawful for you to eat. In the meantime, a hamster, a guinea pig, a regular pig, a shrimp, a crab, a mussel, a scallop, a eel, those things are not food. If you want the racism, the murder, the oppression, the police tracking to kill us to take the damn land, gentrifying our communities, pulling us over and killing us at traffic stops, the COVID, the monkeypox, if we want the oppression and the foot to get off of our necks, we must start to obey the Most High. The only reason that our oppressor has a foot on our necks and God has not broken their foot to get it off of our necks is because we do not obey God. That's the only reason they're able to murder us and no one has to pay, because we don't obey the Lord. They poison our water, poison our food, and no one has to pay because we eat pork and shrimp and crab. You understand? Because brothers have sex with another man's woman and joke and laugh about it, put in a goddamn rap song until he comes home one day and murders trouble in the goddamn bedroom with his wife because she said the relationship was over because they taking a break, and now she take a break to have a damn entanglement. He come home and put 4 bullets in your back. Now your life is over. Like that, we have to stop. You understand? That's how you stop the violence. Not a candlelight, not a teddy bear, not flowers, not a t-shirt, not a new mayor, not more police. Black people have been begging for police since the damn 80s. The police got here, the police beating the hell out of everybody, locking everybody up, shooting everybody, taking everybody to jail. Now you marching talking about the police is doing their job too rough. Like, that was not the solution from the beginning. We got to turn and obey the Lord. The solution is you have to yield your authority that you think you should have in being in charge and yield it to the prophets that God set up to be in charge. And when you come in the ISUPK, your city will be safe because you will stop being a sinner. You won't do things that angers the Most High anymore because now you know you will change. You won't have Christmas trees in your house because you know that the Lord is going to hurt your family for you celebrating Christmas, so that all of the kids and all of the moms and aunties, everyone can cry for a couple of years as they get no birthday presents, no Christmas presents, no Easter suits and celebrations and Easter baskets, no birthday cards and birthday parties, no Mother's Day, no Mother's Day presents on Father's Day because our families are destroyed, no 4th of July, no fireworks, no Labor Day back to school parade cookouts, no Labor Day events, and guess what else you will stop? No church services, No more letting your sodomites or the lesbians lead the damn solo in church. And guess what you will, by forfeiting those things that the Lord hates, you will stop all of the shootings that come for the 4th of July. Nobody's going to get shot. No baby has to die as a stray Draco bullet goes through a wall and hits your baby in her neck as she walks around with her leapster in the living room because you keep celebrating birthdays and Christmas and you feed her pork. And it makes the Lord angry, so he takes her from you. Now, this won't happen. We won't have it. All the child molestation that goes on in the Christian church and your religious institution, the children will stop getting molested. All of your boyfriends, because you keep leaving your husband to go and have sex with another man because you're mad at your boyfriend for not doing what you want because you think you're supposed to be in charge of him and your goddamn temper tantrum like a toddler. Well, guess what? You can't leave him. So now the other 10 men that you would have sex with that would also have sex with your son and your daughter and then turn him into a murderer and her into an OnlyFans model or a lesbian, those things would stop. And then guess what else would stop? The spread of AIDS would stop. The spread of monkeypox would stop. All of the weed and all of the drugs and Percocets that everyone has to take to get over all of the abuse and sadness because our communities are destroyed and all of the depression, the drugs would stop because everyone would give up getting high because it angers the Lord. It makes him kill us and sends evil spirits so that there's a bunch of shootings and stabbings and raping happen in our community. It would stop. The kidnappings would stop because the evil spirit that invites the kidnappers by us disobeying the Lord, that spirit wouldn't be welcome in our community anymore. He'd come and try to steal a kid and he'd have a heart attack and die and wreck his car, burst into flames and die. That's what would happen. The Lord kills and he makes alive. He makes peace and creates evil. You understand? Evil has a purpose. Peace has a purpose. There are angels that do good and there are angels that do evil. They have a purpose. They're not without purpose. God is in control of everything. The problem is we have not been taught about the God of the Bible. We've been taught about the God in the Christian church, which is really just the white man's money. That's the God in the Christian church. At one point, they did not accept Halloween as a Christian holiday, but there was money to be made. Then they made it Christian. They didn't accept your Easter, your Mayfair celebrations, all of your church spring gathering around May. All of that is a bunch of goddamn wicked. The maypole that you're dancing around for all the singles in church. I remember I was a young boy in church, and me and a couple of the deacon's sons, we painted this goddamn pole. This pole had to be about 12 feet long. And we painted this pole lavender because that was the favorite color of the female co-pastor at the church that we went to. And we painted this damn thing and this gate for about 2 or 3 weeks. That's how long this pole was. We went through a ridiculous amount of paintbrushes and lavender paint to paint this maypole so that all the singles could grab the pole and dance around the maypole, walking backwards and forwards. Do you know that that is some Irish, Gaelic, Celtic, Wiccan, witchcraft celebration that witches do at the end of goddamn spring before fall comes? All of the years sitting in church, we don't know why the hell we painting this 12-foot pole. It is because there was money to be made by making the witches Christian, by making the Druids Christian, by making the Vikings and the Visigoths and the Scots and the Franks, making all of the pagans into Christianity, which is that Babylon mystery religion that's talked about in Revelation, that every people's culture is found in Christianity. The worship of the mother deity, the worship of Diana, the mother goddess Ishtar, and your Easter celebrations, even the Thanksgiving decorations. Y'all see those pictures around Thanksgiving times where you got the picture of a cranberry and a turkey and a couple of grapes and some more things? Those things are about a fertility goddess. That is the time to celebrate during that solstice. That's why it's there for Thanksgiving. That's why they have another celebration for Samhain or Samhain or All Hallows Eve on Halloween. You understand? Worshiping a ton of gods. Don't even know the gods you worshiping, and then turn around and gonna pray to God, the real God of the Bible, to not get murdered at a traffic stop after worshiping and living our lives worshiping every other God that is making him angry continuously. And the next thing you know, we just get killed. Everybody wonders why, what the hell is going on. This is why these things keep happening. And in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, under Commanding General Yohana, we have the Spirit of the Lord to teach our people what is going on. So we will know early, in advance. So we'll be able to warn our people, give us the warning that the Lord wants us to have to obey him. You understand? So this is our heritage in the Bible here. Jeremiah 17:4, we're going back there. It says, and thou even thyself shall discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. How do we end up serving our enemies? Deuteronomy 28:68. We went into slavery with ships. You understand? We got off those ships. We were sold into other nations of people. Those other nations of people sold us for slave men, bondmen, and bondwomen. They put prices on our head. That's why we dribble basketballs for them. You understand? They might have some other nations of people in the league, but people are coming to the football game to see you, 300 pounds, running 20, 30 miles an hour. See you throwing footballs, jumping over 4 and 5 people to get a touchdown, putting your whole soul into the NFL, your whole soul into the NBA, your whole soul into your music. So much so, the white people is making music. They just making music and getting rich and going home. You making music and you really trying to be the murderer that you rapping about. Really trying to be the drug addict, the rock star you rapping about. Young brothers get rap contracts and really try to be the drug rock star and overdose of the drugs you singing about in your damn music. Like, it's the most destructive and simple thing imaginable. Pretending to be gangsters. How the hell you gonna be a gangster? You on the goddamn internet talking about your murder. You get acquitted from a murder. You say, yeah, we doing the murders. Mafia life. F the judge. Y'all can't see us. Like, you putting evidence against yourself. You at the crime scene. You a felon on parole with drugs on a live video broadcast. Your buddy behind you got a Draco in his hand and an illegal Glock magazine with a switch on it, talking about you a gangster. You're not a gangster. That's not your lifestyle. That's not your culture. You're not a part of that world. You're the victims trying to be in a world, another world that you don't fit in. You understand? It's not your world. Islam is not your world. You're not a part of that world. They're fighting to make Islam dominate the world. That's the purpose of Islam, to conquer the world, to bring everybody under Allah. That's the purpose of Christianity, to conquer the world and bring everybody under that one world religion. That's the purpose. You understand? You trying to get along and everybody have their own beliefs. That is not the purpose of the religions that you are in. That's not what it's about. You're the slaves of that religion, thinking that you're a part of another race of people's culture, getting exploited like a victim. Just like Malcolm X did, just like Martin Luther King did. You understand? All right. So when the Lord said that we would discontinue from our heritage, you understand? In Deuteronomy 28:64, it says, and the Lord shall scatter thee amongst all people from one end of the earth unto the other. That's the transatlantic slave trade. We've been scattered. That's why there's Haitians in Japan that are the best tennis player in all of Japan is really a Haitian sister named Naomi Osaka, because we are scattered from one end of the earth. Think how far Haiti is from Japan. Haiti is just on the outskirts of Florida in the Caribbean. Japan is all the way around on the other side of the world, all across the entire United States, or all the way across the entire Africa, entire Asia, an island off the coast of Asia. That's where Japan is. That means that there are Levites, Haitians, in Brooklyn, in Haiti, down here, and in Japan, on the other side of the planet, because the Lord said we would be scattered from one end of the earth to the other. You understand? Like, this is how we lost our heritage. And there ye shall serve other gods of wood, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known. Like, that's not our heritage. We don't know these gods. We in Islam, it says God, even of wood. The God of wood is that Christian cross. In Christianity, that Christian cross, that's the God of wood. Understand? Let's see if I get that. Christian. All right. Big Christian wooden cross. That's the God of wood. You understand? Big wooden cross. That old rusty cross. They make so many songs about that cross in the Christian church, singing about the cross, singing about the cross. Oh, the cross, the rugged cross. Blessed be the cross. You understand? Well, that's a God that our people serve. Christ was crucified on a 9-foot wooden cross. And you would think that if Christ was crucified by an AK-47, the people who love Christ would not wear pictures of AK-47s around their neck, right? But the people who say they serve Christ, who are Christians, they wear wooden crosses around their neck and get tattoos of the cross, which was the execution method that the Romans used not only to kill Christ, but they would line entire highways filled with people hanging on Roman crucifixes. Entire highways lined with people hung up and nailed, languishing until they just die, hanging on 9-foot wooden crosses. That was capital punishment in the Roman Empire. They did it to everyone. They did it to Peter. They did it to the two people on both sides of Christ. They did it to them too. You understand? Like the God of wood and the God of stone, the two most popular religions on the entire planet, and the two most popular religions in the Black and Hispanic and Native American community, Christianity and Islam. The God of wood and the God of stone. You understand? That is why it's there. That's why it's written in the Bible. That's why it's like that. It says gods that neither thou nor thy father have known. We don't know anything about these gods that our people have been taught to worship. The God of wood is Christianity. You understand? Christianity has nothing to do with the Bible. Everyone, when they think about the Bible, the first thing that Black people, that Hispanics think about is white people. Naked white babies with wings, white Virgin Mary, stained glass pictures and statues and images in the Roman Catholic Church. That is what everybody thinks about. White pearly gates, clouds, dying and going to heaven. A picture of a white image of Jesus Christ, who is Caesar Borgia, the second son of Pope Alexander VI of Rome, the homosexual lover of Leonardo da Vinci. He posed for the image of Jesus Christ during the Renaissance period. You understand? He came from a notorious crime family known as the Borgias. HBO did a series on it. 3 seasons of the Borgias you can now watch on Netflix right now. 3 full seasons. A notorious crime family. This piece of garbage, Caesar Borgia, murdered his father, Rodrigo Borgia, had sex with his sister, Lucrezia Borgia. Had sex with his sister, murdered his father. He posed for the image of Christ in the Renaissance period, and that is who all of our people believe when they think about the Bible. Some white man, some oppressor. You understand? When in reality, the Bible, the God of the Bible, who is not Christ, is a black man. Jesus Christ is a black man from the ghetto. It was black as though he was burnt in a furnace, with eyes red from drinking wine. Turned water into wine was his miracle, came from the ghettos of Nazareth. Healed the sick, raised the dead, and he hated Christian preachers and religious leaders. He despised them. The people that always hated him and the religious leaders that everyone looks at as men of God to this day are the ones who had him killed at the hands of the Romans. That's the reality. We don't know the first thing about the God of wood that we serve, and all of the idols and the cultures of the other nations of people that have been added to the Christian belief over the years, and all of their pagan sacrifices, all of their customs and festivals, like that Christmas you celebrate when you hang the bulbs on the tree. Those bulbs come from beheading people who did not give gifts to the Babylonian king named Nimrod. That's why you hang those bulbs that look like little heads on your Christmas trees. But they make them bright and beautiful colors, and it's fun, and they sing songs just like they teach you to do in church. You don't know what the hell you celebrate. Easter, the fertility goddess Ishtar. I don't know what the hell you celebrate. That mistletoe that they hang up with the Christmas decorations. Mistletoe was a date rape drug. It's like Molly. You would slip some mistletoe or boil it and put it in a punch or a potion and give it to the woman that you liked. And when she drank it, it made her all loopy, halfway passed out, make her horny, uncontrollable. That way you'd be able to drug her and have sex with her, just like Bill Cosby. That's mistletoe. That's what you're celebrating in lieu of the birth of Jesus Christ, when Christ was born in the springtime, not the winter, like we've been taught our whole lives in the Christian church. That's the God of wood. We don't know anything about that God. Think you're going to die and go to heaven, when the Bible says the kingdom of heaven is going to be on the earth, and that the condition of hell is also on the earth. But the God of wood that our people serve think you're going to die and then face your judgment when you live out your judgment according to the Bible. The God of stone is Allah, Islam, represented by that Kaaba stone that's in Mecca, that you cannot disagree, you cannot dispute that every good Muslim must make a Hajj or a pilgrimage to Mecca, which is in Saudi Arabia, and circle around a piece of space meteor rock that a Saudi royal family put in a box that everyone has to walk around and kiss this box. That is Mecca. That is the direction you're supposed to pray to 5 times a day if you are a good Muslim. That has nothing to do with our people. The Arabs are the reason we went into slavery. They built the ships. The Arabs took whoever the white man did not take to the west transatlantic slave trade, further west across the Atlantic. The Arab Islamic slave trade, or the sub-Saharan slave trade, was the biggest slave trade in the world before the transatlantic slave trade. It was the biggest. They took our sons and daughters to be sex slaves back across the west, back across the east to where we left in the Sahara. They walked us across the desert in caravans. They took our mothers and sisters and daughters and aunts to be raped and turned into sex slaves in their Arab harems back in Saudi Arabia, back in the Middle East, back on the east side of Africa, where we ran from initially in our homeland in Jerusalem in the Middle East. They castrated our young boys. They cut their scrotums off, cut their testicles off, so that they would be able to watch over their harems without a desire to have sex with the women that were in those brothels or harems. If you don't understand what a harem is, it's a place where you keep all of your prostitutes so that you can go and sell them and have sex with them and throw them away. Sell them to other men, they can go and have sex with them. That's what a harem is. It's an Arab brothel. Well, that's what they did with the Arab Islamic slave trade, and that is what they did to our sisters. You understand? That's the religion that you're in. Allah did not stop them from castrating our people, hanging our people, executing us on the beach, walking us to death in iron and chains, all of the raping, all of the, you understand? You don't know anything about that God that you're serving. Before Muhammad stole the idea, which Muhammad did not create Islam or the Quran, he was an illiterate. He drove camels throughout the desert. You understand? He was illiterate. He did not read or write. He didn't get any divine inspiration from the Bible. He saw that the real Jews, so-called black people, worshiped one God. And he saw that the benefit of having one God as opposed to the many gods that Arabs worship. That's why you have the symbol for Islam. You got the crescent moon and the stars, because they had to do most of their traveling at night because it gets over 120, 130 degrees in the desert, and it's much easier to move at night when it's not as hot and it's much cooler. So like any heathen, they worship what they need to survive. That's why they pray to the stars and the crescent moon. It is also the same symbol for magic. See, stars and moons, it's the magic symbol. You understand all of that. Jinnah Muhammad broke that down many years ago. You understand? Those things have nothing to do with worshiping the God of the Bible. Praying to a rock has nothing to do with worshiping the God of the Bible. The Arabs are not God's chosen people. The Lord does not love the Arabs. The Bible does not pertain to them. And they, just like the white man and the Africans, got filthy rich enslaving our people for centuries. They have not paid. They live in our land. Saudi Arabia belongs to the children of Israel. That is why they have all that wealth and gold and oil. You understand? The United Arab Emirates and Iraq and Iran and Yemen and Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, Palestine, Lebanon, Yemen, all that whole Middle East area belongs to the children of Israel. They have wealth and power and riches because we went into slavery. You understand? The same way that the Canaanites had wealth and power and riches because we had to leave our land of Canaan to move into Egypt because there was a famine in the land of Canaan. And then when it came time for us to leave Egypt several hundred years later, we got back and it was filled with Hamites living in our land. The same way that when we left the west coast of Africa, many of the Africans who were selling us and getting rich, they assumed the identities of a culture of people that was far more superior to their own. That is why the white men came to get us with all of our skills and did not come and get them. That's why you see the inventions that we made here in America in slavery and the inventions, if you can find any, that Africans made themselves in Africa before the Industrial Revolution, and everything that we created spread throughout the world through the white man extending his empire. You understand? That's why the Bible says ye are the salt of the earth in Matthew 5:13. We give the earth its flavor. Everything that makes the earth wonderful and great, we give it. It comes from the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. There is no America without Mexicans. There is no America without El Salvadorians and Guatemalans and Central Americans picking all of your fruits and vegetables to fill your grocery store, picking all of your oranges and strawberries and tomatoes. There is no America. You have no lettuce for your restaurant. You have no tomatoes and onions without so-called Hispanics. You have no shipping containers. You have no countries. You have no banks, no insurance companies. All of that wealth that came from selling and insuring slaves and cotton and sugar cane and all of the inventions that slaves made. There is no America. You understand? There is none of this world empire without Native Americans that built their skyscrapers for America, that they stole the culture, helped them survive and live on the land, and then our oppressor repaid them by executing them and murdering them and then throwing a national day of Thanksgiving every year that people celebrate. You understand? There is no America without our people. None. And all of the wealth that America has spread to the other races of people to stop them from trying to go to war with them, like China and Vietnam and Japan and Korea and all of the Arabs and all of the other European nations. America did trade and business with them to slow the coming of World War III, which they cannot escape as Russia invades the rest of Europe and as China is going to invade the rest of Taiwan to take it back. The Korea is going to rejoin. France is going to leave NATO, and it is going to be World War III that is unavoidable. God is bringing it to pass. You understand? All right. Okay. And with that, we at the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, we start out of 1 West 125th Street in Harlem, New York. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. If you are not an ISUPK, you are not a truth. You understand? Everybody make sure you sign in for attendance. Name, city, and state so the officer taking attendance can get it. All right. Rule for new brother and sister. When a brother and sister comes into the school, they're off limits for 6 months. It'll be saluted only. They're here to learn and share themselves with the world. You understand? If a brother or sister has a particular interest in any person, they're to seek counsel from the head. They'll seek counsel, reach out to their camp leader to see if the person that they want to speak to or court is available, or if they are available to court anyone. You understand? After that, there's an additional 6-month period in which they will either get permission to marry or be told or counseled not to. You understand? Tithes, which is a commandment from the Most High, 10% of every penny of any increase the Most High gives to you, you give to the school, or write to ISUPK.com. You understand? Send your tithes in there. The donation link will take you. It'll send you an email receipt right to your email. All right. The upcoming High Holy Days, September the 25th, you got the High Holy Day Memorial. You understand? Coming up, blowing the trumpets. Get ready, prepared for that. This coming up this week, we got the annual. This weekend, we got the speaking in Times Square. Back in Times Square again this Saturday. This Sunday, we have our annual headquarters cookout right in Harlem, New York, Marcus Garvey Park. All of the advertisements, all of the communications and things have been sent out for weeks. Everyone that is planning on making it, get your rides, get your bus tickets, your train tickets, however you plan to get there. If you plan to attend, you understand, make sure you communicate with the city and whatever the camp, whatever city or state that you're in there. Get everything set up. Do not miss it. All right. And lastly, if any brother wants to become a trooper in the school, they're to be in all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, war scarf. Even if you're watching online and you're not in a physical school, you understand. I started watching classes online many years ago as well. Be in your all black when you watch these classes, all right? Contact the ISUPK school in whatever city or state that you're in. You can Google for anything that you want. You Google and search ISUPK for whatever city or state that is nearest you. The nearest school will come up. Contact that school. Leave a voice message. Send a text message. You understand? Your name, information. Someone will get back to you. All right. And with that, I admire you. I'm gonna give one courtesy salute to the brothers. You understand? Men of Israel. I admire Shabbat. I admire Barak. Yahweh by Shimei Awashai Barak Thumb. So Yahya Matal means down. Saw, this means to turn. Men of Israel going to give one courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, Ahmad Shabbat. Haymadyam Barak. Yahweh Shamar Alathan by Hashem Yahushai. Yahya Matal. Class dismissed. Make sure you tune in. Subscribe. Next class, Hebrew language, right here on Friday. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment on all of our videos right on the same YouTube channel. Those videos, those thumbs up, those likes, they help grow our channel and support the truth so more other brothers and sisters can come in and join the school and get out of the world where there's danger and death. With that, shalom.